to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
It's my absolute pleasure. When Sparkle calls, I had to be here.
Oh, my, you've been busy.
You want to tell everybody how we met?
Not really, but we can.
I mean, yeah, okay.
We can.
Maybe we'll leave it to the viewer to figure this out.
We'll leave it to the viewer. Well, we met at where you work. We went at your job. We can think about that.
I was at work. Yeah. Second day on the job.
Really?
And second day on the job, and I was it second day? It was one of the first few days on the job. And the facility was busy. Campus was busy with a bunch of activity.
Well, tell everybody where you work.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I work over at the Fresno Convention and Entertainment Center, which is Selland Arena, Soroyan Theater, Valdez Hall, and the Convention Center. And I just started this gig as the executive director. This is week number 3.
Wow.
Like fresh. And love Fresno. But so anyway, it's just a busy weekend for us, and there's this rave that's going on.
You just had to say that, didn't you?
Well, I mean, okay.
Well, I was helping my friend at his booth, though.
Yeah.
So
I'm walking around, and I was just kind of, just walking around and observing and taking notes for our staff and team and whatnot, and then there's this bubbly personality kind of walking around, and we just started talking, and next thing you know, she invites me on the show, and I thought, this is great, yeah. I love to talk if you don't.
You just came here from Texas. What part of Texas?
Central Texas, so San Antonio, Austin area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
really cool.
Is it like, do you feel there's a little bit of Texas here?
Without a doubt. I tell people all the time, this is Fresno. I love it. It's a wonderful, beautiful community, beautiful people here. Everyone I've met, and they don't know what I do, but just everyone I meet has been so friendly, so nice. And it just reminds me a lot of San Antonio. Demographics are almost the same, really, if you think about it. But it's just really, really good people here. So I'm enjoying it.
And like, what a big undertaking. And what do you feel when you came here and you saw Selland Arena and you saw like Soroyan Theater?
Well, I've been doing this for a long time. I know I don't look it, but I've been doing this for a little over 25 years. And opening and managing stadiums, arenas, and convention centers. And so the opportunity when I came out here to Fresno and I toured the facilities and I met the staff, and then I met some of the people over at City Hall and some of the people in the community, it kind of convinced me that this is a place I wanted to be. And more so because I think there's a lot of things that we could do to the Soroyan Theater, to Selland Arena that we haven't done in a long time.
That's why I think they got you for the job, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But so we're looking to bring more content, more events to downtown Fresno, to Selland Arena, to the Soroyan Theater, and some of that stuff will spill over into Valdez Hall and certainly the Convention Center. And part of our mission is to help work with the Convention and Visitors Bureau to try to bring more, heads and beds is what they call it. So, whether it's state associations are hosting their meetings here, maybe out-of-town sporting events that attract people from out of town to come down again. People are spending money in the community, at the hotel rooms, the restaurants. It's all of that. And so, that's really our mission. My primary goal is to really just make us a really viable place for people to consider to host their event at our complex.
No, I think you are the right man for the job. It really seems like you've done a lot of stuff. So I think that's going to be really exciting to bring what you're going to bring here. What is some of the stuff that you can tell us? I'm sure there's a lot of things you're working on that you don't want to spill yet, but what can you tell us?
No, there's a lot. But so I think in the Soroyan, we're going to see a lot more activity and a lot of things that you might see maybe in other markets. Musical acts, comedy, that kind of stuff, like a lot more than what we currently have. And a lot of that is in partnership. So the company I work for is VenueWorks. It's a private management company that the city's in a partnership with. But VenueWorks is also in partnership with ATG Entertainment, which is the Ambassador Theater Group. They own and manage theaters all over the world, primarily in Europe, but here in the U.S. a lot. And they've got some venues up in San Francisco. So, I end up, working for two really, really great companies. And so the partnership we have with ATG is part of what they're going to be doing is to bring in a lot of content into the theater and into Selland Arena. And so I think on the arena side, we're looking to do, some concerts and I think we're going to find a sweet spot for us. I'm thinking somewhere in that 35 to 5,500 capacity type shows, that might be bypassing Fresno and going someplace else. We can do a few here. I mean, the really, really big shows, we're going to get a few. But the really, really big shows are going to go to Save Mart Center because they have a huge capacity there. And I don't want to compete against them. They're good people over there, but they do a fantastic job.
We get along with them, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, absolutely.
You guys have a relationship with them, so you guys can kind of talk back and forth.
Great relationship with some of the people.
And when I was a kid growing up, we didn't have Save Mart Center. That's a newer thing that we have.
Yeah.
So
it's a beautiful place.
All we had was like Selland Arena, and all the greatest things would go there in town. So is that part of like why? Did Save Mart Center kind of take a little bit of that away, or not really?
Well, it did. I mean, Selland was the place, the legacy building, the legacy arena in the market.
Right.
And a lot of people, I mean, at least my generation, we remember, Jerry Tarkanian, who was a legendary basketball coach when he was over at Fresno before he went to UNLV. A lot of the games were held at Selland Arena, so there's a lot of history there. A lot of the big concerts were held there, and then Save Mart Center came along, and they opened up, and a lot of the events kind of gravitated over there. But we're going to find our own niche, and we want to complement the market, and we want to bring some entertainment that might be bypassing Fresno. People tell me all the time, well, we should have this, we should have that, and so I think my mission is to try to get some of that stuff down here to Fresno. Because
the reality is we do need all of these types of venues, all sizes, because like you said, we're bypassing a lot of good things, because some people are not big enough to fill Save Mart Center, but they are big enough to fill the arena themselves. So it's like I love that you say it like that, because that's exactly what's happening, and we want to get all the good entertainment we can, right?
Well, we do. I mean, I think this is a great market. People love to get out there and support the arts and support entertainment. And, the mission really is to try to figure out what we think can sell well in the community, right? And sometimes you got to use a car term, you got to kick the tires. You got to do a variety of different things to see what's going to stick, what's going to work, right? So we're kind of thinking out of the box. One of the other things we're going to do is work on what we call homegrown events, but some newer local events that people haven't really kind of considered.
Like what?
Well,
I'm curious.
I know. You know what? When we're ready to talk about it, I want to come back.
There's something you can throw at me, though. There's something.
There's no meat on this bone right now. You're not going to get out of me, Sparkle.
Really? There's not one thing you can tell me? I'm trying to think of what that could be.
Well, yeah, I'm going to keep you guessing.
Well, because we have home shows and we have a lot of like different.
Well, these are going to be.
Is it like a con, like a bigger con? Because we don't have huge cons; we have smaller cons.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's all of that, but it's also some cool.
I lived in LA for most of my adult life, so that's why I'm trying to figure out what.
These are going to be some cool events that are just more made organically for our community, and where we could tie in our downtown businesses to be a part of it as well too. And there'll be events at the center, right, at the complex. That's what we're trying to do. but we would tie in some of the other local businesses to participate as well. Hey, we want to, we're gonna play with everyone. So I mean, it's not. I always tell people it's not an I or a we. I mean, we're all doing it together, and we're trying to build this one team component for Fresno, and especially for downtown Fresno. So the mission is to get out there and do some of these things. So your mission, all right, should you accept it? No, your mission is to, when we do some of these events, just come on out and support it. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody
well, I
needs
think
to
everybody
support.
wants to, because I think the goal, and we talked a little bit about this backstage, we want to be able to drive not far to whatever we want. That's what we want. We're in that society where it's like whatever's quick and easy and that we can access easily. So I think that we're all in agreement. Like if we can have really cool things happen here, we don't have to go to San Francisco or LA for certain things that we want.
Right, that's true.
We want it to be in our backyard. That's ultimately what we want.
Ultimately, that's it. And I think we're going to be able to kind of, we're going to start doing a variety of things, and hopefully some things will stick. Some things are not going to work.
Yeah, and that's fine. But that's
fine. But we have to try those things, right? You just have to try something to see if it sticks. And sometimes we may try it once and it's okay.
That's the biggest problem.
We'll try it again.
It takes a couple times.
And we'll listen to the community. They'll give us some feedback on it. But yeah, so the homegrown events is something we want to focus in on. And then I really want to help build the convention center as a destination for a lot of people that want to host their wedding receptions there, want to host their galas and fundraisers there. And so right now we're kind of working behind the scenes to create kind of an all-inclusive package. So it's going to be based on a per head basis, which will include the rent and the staffing and the food. So it's going to be easier for people to kind of budget, right, what they want to spend. And so we'll have different packages for folks.
That's pretty big for a wedding reception.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
I wouldn't be able to fill that. I can't imagine anybody having a bigger wedding in town than me. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who would.
Yeah. Well, you probably could fill it. I'm sure you know so many people.
I do know a lot of people.
But there's just a lot of rooms that we have. It doesn't need to be the big room.
I was thinking that, you just invite the whole town at that point.
Yeah.
No, so I'm curious from because as an outsider looking in, what is the goal when you get these places? Because I know you guys are booked way in advance for a lot of things.
Right.
So when you're coming in, or they're saying, well, you should be booked this many days out of a year. And if you guys aren't booked this many days out of a year, it's like a failure or a loss of success. What is kind of the goal in that? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a really good question. But I think conventions typically book 18 months plus out.
Right, okay. That was kind of what I would think.
Yeah. Concerts and events, I just had this conversation with somebody not too long ago, last week it was, in fact. There was a time when concerts were booking, 3-4 months out, and now that's not the case. They're almost booking a year out, and so, and in some cases maybe a little bit longer than that, but it's within a window, and so any of the things that I'm working on now, they're months down the road. So there's going to be no quick concert announcement happening next month. Or
no,
next
that's what I assumed that. But when you said some of these galas and some of these weddings, I'm trying to think of how.
So those events, a lot of these organizations put these beautiful events on. They're as soon as the last one's over with, they're working on the next one.
Oh, yeah.
And so we want to be part of that conversation on the next one. And how do we get it?
I get what you're saying.
How do we get it at our place? And how do we make it work for them? And I think that, to me, I would think that I've had success with this in other places, but, I like the all-inclusive pricing because it's easier for people to budget.
Absolutely. That's a very good point.
Well, think of, in a wedding, think of a dad right? Who is going to, a lot of dads are carrying the burden of having to pay for their daughter's wedding, right?
And there's all those hidden costs you don't think about, and that happens to every single person. So the all-inclusive thing is a very good
the
thing.
hidden costs get you all the time, and we don't want to do that. So, we'll have different packages for different people, and the goal is just to bring their event down there. And we're cheerfully going to put on the event. We have a terrific catering partner in Pardini's, a legendary legacy name here in the Fresno area.
Are there other caterers that you guys use as well?
No. Pardini's is the exclusive caterer for the entire complex.
So everybody has to...
Yep, they all got to go through Pardini's. And they do an amazing job.
Because they have their own event space as well.
Oh,
a lot of people
they
have
do.
it at their location.
And restaurants here in town and stuff like that.
But you said you can't use any other restaurants. You have to only use...
Well, we can't use any other caterers or restaurants, right? So Pardini's has an exclusive arrangement with the city, and they are the official exclusive caterer for the Fresno Convention Entertainment Center. So everything, Convention Center, Valdez Hall, Soroyan Theater, and the arena.
Wow, so you used to come to Fresno a lot at some point, so you have a familiarity with the Valley.
Right.
So when you came here, you kind of knew a lot of the different hubs and stuff. You seem to know a lot.
Yeah, right. No, and the thing is that Fresno's got a lot of history of entertainment down here.
We really do, huh? When you think about it.
No, I mean, yeah, and there's a variety of stuff, and I think, I mean, one of the neat things about the community here is that, for example, Latin music. I mean, everyone knows that Fresno's a great market for that, Not every Latin artist is going to sell well here, right? but there's a lot of stuff that's going to do really, really well. Country does really well here. Classic rock does really well here. It's just kind of a variety.
I think we like everything.
I think so too, right? What's your favorite music? You and I got into this conversation a little bit on text messages the other day, but
I didn't know the music you were talking about. That sounds cool. I did look it up.
So what kind of music do you like? What's in Sparkle's play?
System
Spotify?
of a Down.
Wow, I didn't know. Okay, I didn't pick you a System of a Down.
Well, I'm Armenian, they're Armenian, and they sing a lot about Armenian things. So we got that Armenian pride of Fresno. So
that's cool. What else?
Like AC/DC. I think I'm probably going to go see Leonard Skinner in August. So
you're kind of you're rock.
I'm a rocker
you're
girl.
A rocker. Yeah. Okay, well, that's cool.
But I like a little bit of everything. So I'll come and support the next. Well, now that I know you can tell us what's happening. And how active are you on your personal socials? Are you going to tell people what's happening or not really?
No, but the building will. The complex will.
Oh, okay. So they're active on Instagram and everything?
We're going to start getting a lot more active.
Well, now that you're in charge, I mean...
We're going to start getting a lot more active, that's for sure. And that's part of it, because that's one way we tell our story, right? And we let people know kind of what we're doing, and we want to do it in a very creative way, too, not just an ad, a real simple ad, So...
I think, and I have heard that complaint in town, and I've had that complaint. The worst thing that happens is that when things do happen and we don't know about it, I was like, oh my gosh, I would have gone if I knew about that. And that's a complaint that we all say, and that's everywhere. And I'm actually pretty active on social. So if I'm not seeing about it until it's done, that's not good. That probably does mean that someone didn't do their job right.
Right. Yeah. No, I could see that. But some of it is now with advertising. It used to be back in the day you would do the shotgun approach, because there was really only radio or TV or print. Remember print back in the day?
That's how I started in print.
Yeah.
Wrote for the Fresno Bee here.
Did you really?
Which I guess used to be in this building.
Okay.
But
I think there's your typewriter there.
I started with a typewriter, but there were commuters, so it's just like,
With the liquid paper? Did you ever use that?
I did all of that. I can still hear the sound.
Oh, man. People watching this saying, well, what the heck is liquid paper?
But I mean...
It's a thing.
Honestly, it's like the way computers were back in the day, a typewriter was kind of more efficient in the onset of computers, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we can't fathom. Now a computer's way faster, but you know.
Oh, yeah. And you could fix font. With a typewriter, you had a certain, that was it, the font.
Re-ribbon,
That's
edits,
it. Yeah, right. But so back then, to advertise events, it was just that shotgun approach. And so that's why a lot of people would hear about things. Now, we can reach, if you're a fan of AC/DC, we know who you are, and we can reach you, you know, and the AC/DC fan, and you don't need to spend a whole bunch of money out there hitting up. So I hear that from a lot of people saying, hey, I didn't know about the event. Well, you know, a lot of it is that you know, they spent their advertising dollars hitting that specific demographic, that fan.
No, I love that. And like in the past, when you made event spaces work, is that something that you kind of did? You got into these towns, found out what people wanted, and then tried to accommodate it. Was that some of your successes? If you could tell us a little bit about your successes in this. Yeah,
well, I think that, and I'm treating this thing almost like a new build. That's probably the easiest way for me to describe it. But you know, if you're going into a new facility, a lot of times, so I've opened up 4 new facilities. Stadiums and arenas and theaters, and where I was employee number 1, and you start to build your team, and then you just kind of start to build a business plan and what you want to do for entertainment and things of that sort. My job is to sell that to the agents and the promoters to try to bring events to the community. And honestly, a lot of it is just really looking at the demographics of the market, seeing what's worked out in the past. So you got a little bit of a blueprint. You're not going in blindly. But I said it a little bit earlier, a lot of times you got to try something new. Yeah. I always tell people, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. Right? I mean, you could have some success with that. If you do, you got to do some of that, keep some of the same things going. Yeah, but you have to try something different because the community is always changing and people's tastes are always changing. So, yeah, I mean, I always encourage our staff to, you know, think of events, think outside the box. Let's not just do the same thing over and over again. And then also, you know what I'm curious about? I'm curious why we've lost some events. And is that something that you're going to, like, investigate? Because, like I said, when I was a kid, everything was over there. We had the circus over there. We had the ice capades over there. Yeah. We had a lot of different things there. And I know some things aren't even happening anymore that were there. Some events don't even exist anymore. But I imagine that I'm kind of curious of why we don't have some of the things anymore that do exist. You kind of go in and investigate why we don't, maybe try to bring some of those things back? No, you do. And some of it's because the Save Mart Center opened up. And so some of the bigger events will go over there because they have more seats to sell. Well, I know the difference of that. I'm saying some things just stopped coming to the Valley because I understand that. Yeah, well, and a lot of times, it's because maybe they didn't sell enough tickets the last time they were here, and they're like, hey, let's just kind of keep Fresno on the radar, but it's not a primary play. Because that could have been like 10, 15 years ago. Maybe we should reach back to them because we've grown so much in that time. No, you're right. Ms. Sparkle, you're right on all that front. And you know, my job is to kind of take a look at all of that and figure out, okay, what can we pitch here to these agents and the promoters? And so I probably spent maybe the last 15 years really getting to work with, you know, my peers in the industry, a lot of the agents, and getting to know them and build trust. And our industry is a relationship-driven industry, and so you know, I might have a shot to get something that maybe might be looking someplace else because I have a relationship with this particular agent or manager, but at the end of the day, I got to deliver it. The community's got to support it, right? So there's a lot of things that go all into it. But you know, the circus, for example, it was a sad day when Ringling Brothers decided they were going to fold up the tent, no pun intended. And that's because they were getting a lot of pressure from organizations that, which is really unfortunate. Treatment of animals, and although I mean Feld Entertainment does an amazing job with all of the animals that they had. Nobody cared for them better than they did. And so, but then their business model started to change a little bit too, because people started to like more of Cirque du Soleil type of thing. And so it kind of changed, and so now now the circus is coming back, but it's a little bit of a hybrid. It's
because you have the Cirque du Soleil
and some of the animal stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll get them to come down. Who knows?
So what are some of the complaints now that you work at the promoters on those people? You kind of think that you go to the event, I want to do this event, whatever. What are the ways that they say the event space falls short? Because aren't they the ones that are supposed to promote this? It's not really your guys' job, right? Like, I would like to know kind of like whose job is who, and like what, what are they ever saying that they need from you guys that they don't see in the past or they haven't seen in other venues?
Well, I think venues look at it from. There's a couple of thoughts that some venues have. One hey, we're just running the facility, it's your event,
Yeah, okay, so that's one approach.
You guys come on in and we'll give you the tables and the chairs, the power, the stage, everything you need, but it's your event.
Okay.
And then there's another way of operating it, which is the way I do, that is we're in partnership with this group. And I always tell people this story. We're not really in the rental business. We're not. I mean, you really don't make much money off the rent. That just goes now to cover overhead.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah, I mean, the money really for us is in the popcorn, beer, sodas, ticketing, parking, that's where we make our money, to be perfectly honest with you. And so the job is, it's always to try to, not price yourself out, of the market, but working with the promoter, working with the event organizer to try to maximize the number of people that are coming to your event. Yeah,
if it's a successful event, they'll be back, and that's what you want.
And then that means more people are coming. More people are buying tickets.
You
more
want them
people
to be
are paying
successful.
For parking. More people are buying. Popcorn and sodas and drinks, and that's just better for us.
Yeah, we want all of that.
Yeah, and so the more people that show up, the better it is for everyone. And so you
guys do kind of offer a little bit more, like we are going to help you make this event.
No, and we are. Yeah, I mean, we're building out our marketing team too. We have some really talented people with us. But we want to build out our team to offer a little bit more services to the event holders when they come on in, and give them some some more ammunition that we could kind of help deliver from a local standpoint.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but it's a lot of fun too. At the end of the day, what we do is fun. I wouldn't be doing this thing. I mean, actually, this is all I've really ever known. I mean, I've been doing events for a long time now, so kind of like you in media. You've been doing it for a long time, right?
Oh, yeah, I mentioned how to do the typewriter and that. Yeah, I think about it, I've been published since the 90s, so.
Yeah, wow.
We both look good for age.
We do, yes, we do.
Okay, so we do want to help all the success of this. We want to help be successful. Where should we go now, all our viewers? How do we keep up with everything? So you said...
So right now we have a website. It's FresnoConventionCenter.com, and we have some Instagrams. Now, I will say this. The website is we're going to redo the entire website.
I imagine.
Yeah, we're going to redo
I think when
the
they brought you
website.
and everything's sitting in makeover.
No, it is, and then Insta pages and all the social media.
But there is right now on Instagram. So what I'm saying is, what should we be following? Is there one thing under the umbrella that we can see both Selden Arena and
it is, and I think right now it's just for FresnoConventionCenter.com because everything's kind of underneath that. But yeah, follow us there, and then watch as we kind of rebrand ourselves and come out with a new website and new
and
social
Instagram
media pages.
too could be just the Fresno Convention Center. Like I don't have to follow that answer. I mean, I will, but we'll see. Maybe we don't know how many Instagrams there are if there's a Fresno Convention Center, Soroyan Theater, and what was the other one? The hall, the
Valdez Hall.
Valdez Hall.
I think it's just all under one.
That's the easiest, so we kind of know what everything is. Okay, hopefully.
FresnoConventionCenter.com.
Well, we like Instagram and Facebook. Well, no one's going to go to a website every day and look at what's happening.
I agree. It's going. Okay, Instagram. We're going on Instagram. Everybody follows on Instagram. But we're going to be updating it. So don't just if you go now, please don't judge. Okay? We know
you've only been here for 3 weeks. So we're excited with what's happening. What events happening that you're excited with coming up that we could look forward to? There's going to be something you've seen on the docket that you're like, oh, wow, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, there is,
Besides the rave we met each other.
Right. Well, there's some exciting stuff coming to the Soroyan, and I cannot say yet.
But there's nothing on the schedule that you are excited about?
On the schedule now? Yeah, I mean...
that's what I'm saying. Like
the Broadway Across America series, I think is really cool, right? This weekend we got Clue.
Clue.
It's a Broadway show. Clue.
Oh, okay. Is it based on the game? I haven't heard of that. Is a Broadway show based on the game?
It's I don't know. It's Clue.
That's cool.
but it's a well-known show that's out there.
I know the game. I know. So it's like based on Professor Plum and all that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. I'm embarrassed. I don't know.
I'm like the game.
Go see Clue. No, I really want to see it. I mean,
you'll know once you see it.
I really want. I'm looking forward. So that's coming up this weekend, and then we've got some cool stuff coming down the pike. But
any concerts?
Yeah, but they're.
That you mentioned.
Yeah, they're not confirmed. They're on the books, but we're looking forward to it.
So we got Clue, and then
yeah, we're gonna have some cool stuff. And listen, I'd love to come back, Sparkle, and talk about some cool stuff we have coming up.
People only get to come one time on the show.
They only come one time?
I'm kidding. We totally want to have you back.
What happens? They leave out of here. Yeah, what happens? They get banned?
No, we're like you. We want people to be happy and come back. That's the thing. We want to be like Selling Arena. So no, don't worry. We're going to keep on coming back.
That's it. You and your team are just, so delightful and so accommodating. You have a great crew here.
Well, you have a great team. And it did run really efficiently, that rave that we did there, because I've done raves at a lot of different locations. Like, that's one thing I know when thinking about when we're doing it here, there, whatever. And everybody was really great that night. So
they had a lot of fun.
But you left early. I was there longer than you were.
Yeah, I know you were.
You probably had been there all day.
I was there for a long while, and I was I'm trying to get accustomed. I was trying to get accustomed to the time change too.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
That is a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2-hour swing.
So, are you going to bring us anything cool from Texas?
There's nothing weather-wise cool. No, it's hot, but
to sell at Arena, anybody that you have relations with over here that you're like, hey, you guys got to check out Fresno.
Well, I all of the big time promoters and agents that have a bunch of artists. Yeah, I'm tapping all those.
That's really cool.
Because it's kind of the same people that kind of do stuff all over the country.
And I feel like there is a lot. I mean, I go to Texas, here and there, and I feel like there is a lot of that same.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I mean, what are some of the things you think we ought to do here? Like, you've been here for a minute.
Bring AC/DC here, because I missed them twice last year. I was supposed to see them in Phoenix and in LA, and we missed it.
I think they're doing stadiums.
No, they do the smaller one, because they're not that. They would be put there before they'd be put at Save Mart. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. No, man. No, they're selling out stadiums. They're on sale at the Alamo Dome. I mean, I know they're doing big time shows, stadiums.
Yeah, but even in Hollywood, they were doing the
AC/DC is, oh my God, they are just awesome. They're awesome. I always tell all the young talent out there, the people that are kind of starting out, they're trying to hone their craft, go see some of these legacy bands like AC/DC and
that have the original singer.
Yeah, but they Aerosmith, Steven Tyler's getting better. Hopefully they're going back out on tour. But you see some of these great artists, and you really see how they do it on stage, man.
It's really cool.
It's an education for a lot of these young bands, young talent out there to check it out.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I'm getting the hook. I feel the hook.
You're not getting hooked, but
Or are you going to play me out with music?
Oh my gosh, no, you were great. But
you're playing me out. You're playing me out.
This is the Jeopardy song. That's all you have to ask the question. If you don't get it fast enough, we start doing the Jeopardy question.
Okay.
But you answered questions fast enough, so you didn't get that.
I try. I want to come back, Sparkle.
Oh, you're going to come back. We're all going to follow Selling Arena because.
Yep.
And then you said you don't even post or anything. You're boring on social.
I'm really boring. I don't post.
Everybody follow Selling Arena.
Yeah, follow Selling Arena and follow Sparkle.
Thank you so much.
Sparkle is going to follow Selling Arena. And
I am right now.
Fresno Convention.
I'm going to follow them right now.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. My honor. Thank you.
Joe, how are you today?
Doing great, Sparkle. It's good to be back.
Well, we've never actually been to the studio, so do you like it?
Yeah, I do. I'm very impressed with the studio and all the amenities here. So yeah, I've been missing out all this time.
But you're busy. You're here. You're there. Everywhere. So what are you doing these days?
These days, I am actually I do have a full-time job. It's an assistant director for an organization up in the North Valley. So I do that, but then, I still like to mess around with airplanes and stuff like that. So, and historical things.
Well, your knowledge is so...
Oh, well, thank you.
You know everything about...
I try, but, it helps when people kind of prod it out of you, and I enjoy talking about, things like that because a lot of folks don't realize it. Yeah, that's an airplane. I've seen one, I've seen them all, but that's not the case at all, So in saying that, I had the folks down at the Flight Test Historic Foundation, located down at Edwards Air Force Base. That's the governing body of the Flight Test Museum. Basically reach out to me and say, gosh, we knew what you did at the prior museum you were at, and you raised a lot of money. So wondering if you can help us out in that realm. And I said, that's kind of cool. I'm a little flattered with that, but thank you. And so it's been about 3 months now or so. I said, okay, I'll jump on board. And what we did, initially was kind of dot all the I's, cross the T's, but found out what they're doing, and it's very, very impressive. And a lot of viewers out there don't realize that their museum is actually on an active Air Force base. So that being said, you or I or anyone just couldn't drive up there and go to it. You have to call 2 weeks prior, in some cases, get security clearance, have somebody sign you on to go through that museum. So it really hinders visitorship, but it also hinders, and really important, it hinders students and field trips and classes being able to go to a facility like that and be inspired. Plant the seed early in a child's mind. Maybe that child will be the next Albert Einstein or Neil Armstrong or whoever it might be, but they have to be exposed to it. And in order to do that, we have to get the museum outside of the Air Force Base boundary, so outside of one of the main gates. And the gate is called the Rosamund Gate, or the West Gate, and that's where the museum is. And in the pictures that I had sent, you can see the concept, you can see how cool it looks. They have all of the black jets. And when I say black jets, I'm talking about the Stealth, the F-117 Nighthawk, the Blackbird's sister, the A-12, which was designed for the CIA for spying, and also the U-2, all of the cameras that went in there. Plus, it's where the birth of jet aircraft in America happened. We're talking World War II. The first jets that were experimented with were at Muroc Army Air Base, which later became Edwards Air Force Base. And it was named for Glenn Edwards, Captain Glenn Edwards, who actually died or was killed in one of the first flying wings.
Wow.
Which was like 1949, something like that. So the crash site is still out there. It's marked. It's out by Highway 58. It's out in the desert somewhere. But these are stories that, need to be told, and we need to know it's about the airplanes, it's about the machines, but it's also a human story. A human story is, pushing the boundaries beyond. The sky has no limit. That's the feeling. That's the message. And people like General Chuck Yeager, the first man to break the sound barrier in 1947, and it was kept a secret for quite a while. People like Bob Hoover, Neil Armstrong, all of those folks tested out there. Matter of fact, the first attempts in a lunar lander, a very crude one, apparatus, was done out on the lake bed at Edwards Air Force Base.
Really?
Yeah. NASA has a huge contingent out there. The space shuttle actually landed there several times.
Really?
So yeah, you in addition to the concrete runways, you have dry lake beds. And
that is true. You have more room to do stuff that there than other places.
You have one runway on a dry lake bed that's 11 miles long. Now think about that.
Wow.
So it's really, really neat, and to extol these stories and to, feed that thirst for knowledge in youth is really what we're looking for. So the nice thing is unlike a lot of other organizations or like museums, they actually have 75,000 square feet of concrete down already.
Wow, that is a lot.
Okay. Oh, it's a huge. I mean, that's what, not quite 2 acres, like 1 2/3 acres or something. Plus, they have the skeleton, the steel structure up, the beams and all of that for the building already. So basically now, what we're looking at is to enclose it, put the amenities in there like restrooms and simulators and really neat displays, and do that. And just to enclose it with the price of steel and everything now, the tariffs and everything, you're probably looking at $2 million.
Wow.
But we, as of late, I found out that there are some of the Air Force engineering people would be willing to help put up some of the siding and things like that. We would have to buy it. So that would help out a lot. And since it is an Air Force museum, it behooves them to help. So
how long has they been around as this type of museum?
Oh, I'd say probably since probably since the 80s. It just never had a lot of notoriety because it was difficult to get into to see.
But then you say you have a lot of things that you could do there that you can't have because it's like its own kind of world, huh?
It is. There's 11,000, I think, people that work on Edwards Air Force Base, but it's so spread out that you might not see hardly any of them. I mean, you have North Base, you have South Base.
So you're really transformed. You're getting an experience.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a destination.
Absolutely. And,
place where
the cool thing is that some of those NASA engineers and things like that could volunteer and mentor some of these youth, to foster their knowledge, farther and faster. So the groundbreaking things that happened out there really have trickled down. The landing on the moon wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't had all that out at Edwards. Breaking the sound barrier. Many airplanes tested out there, and you can be out there and you can see the B-2 fly, you can see something else fly.
That's really cool.
And
we're not that really far from any of that. That's
no,
right,
we're not.
It's right there.
It's right there. So on a daily basis, what this would allow is for school classes to be able to bus students a field trip to such a venue or museum and be inspired, and want to take that leap, that quantum leap, if you will, into that field.
Wow. So that's really cool that there were so many different people and that are still currently there too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's also part of the history is, and I'm not sure if you've heard of her or not, but there used to be a ranch out there. It was called Pancho Barnes' Happy Bottom Riding Club. And Pancho Barnes was very, very significant as a female aviator. And then she actually had a ranch out there, which is still, the ruins are still there. And they're historic because all of the test pilots would go in there to have a drink. And she had their picture on the wall. And if you had some of you had your picture on the wall, it meant you were killed. There was a lot of people that were killed out there testing these machines out. So it's a story about them too.
You don't want your picture on the wall.
No, you don't want your picture on the wall.
But we want to know about the people that pictures are on.
You do, absolutely.
Do we get a poncho if we go there?
You never know. You ask. But it's really a marriage of what it took to push those boundaries, the technology, the machines that facilitated that, and the research and development. Very, very important. Now, what I do want to say is people who make donations to this will do it through the Flight Test Historic Foundation. It's kind of like the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, where you have a foundation that supports the mission of the museum.
Okay.
Yeah, museum is, betrothed to the Air Force. It's Air Force run. But the foundation raises the money to expand the museum and take it where it needs to go.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to kind of give you an idea, the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, their last building, their foundation raised $42 million to house these other aircraft.
Have you been there?
I have not, unfortunately.
Oh,
so
Joe.
That's on my bucket list.
I think you have to be there. You'll go there and you'll know everything. They're going to look at you like, how do you know everything?
I don't know about that, but I have a good number of people I know back there, and seeing the actual historic planes from pre-World War II, World War I up through now, that actually took part in action. Now, another thing about Edwards is there was a program called the X-15, and that was in the 60s. That was essentially a rocket airplane. You had an airplane like General Yeager's with the X-1. A mothership took it up to altitude, dropped it, and then they lit the rocket motors to where it took it past the speed of sound. And with the X-15, that actually reached speeds over 4,000 miles an hour. So it actually went up into the lower reaches of space and then came back down, landed on a nose wheel and skids. But again, if you look out there, a lot of first flights, prototype airplanes, that's where it happened. It was Edwards Air Force Base. Now, I did say Muroc Army Airfield, and it was named Muroc because that whole area was a farm. It was a ranch. And it was the Corum family, Corum. And then they said, well, we'll just change it. We'll flip it to Muroc. It was like a railroad stop and stuff like that. And then in the 30s, General Arnold who was at March Army Airfield down in Riverside, brought his bombers up there, and he called it God's gift to the Air Force because it was this huge dry lake bed which provided the perfect runway. So yeah, it's got a lot of heritage to it.
Wow, that's really impressive. And so at the Edwards, do we have to make appointments to go? Can we go whenever? Like, what's the situation? Because I actually am in LA a lot, and Palmdale's right there.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, you have to call ahead of time. You have to call their main museum ahead of time and say, I'm Sparkle. I'd like to see your museum. Joe's been on the show.
Well, but anybody can go, right?
Well, but you have to, as long as you, I should back up a minute. As long as you 2 weeks ahead of time notify the museum.
Okay, so this isn't a spontaneous thing. We have to plan it. No, that's fine.
And that's the problem.
That's what we need to know. We need to know these
that's
things.
the problem now. You can't spontaneously just decide to go. Once it gets outside of the gate off of Highway 14, outside of Rosamond, then you can go anytime. They're open.
Soon we're going to make it happen, so we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, a lot of the airplanes are at Palmdale Air Park. It's really...
it seems really big, so how do we get around to see one area to the next?
In the museum?
Yeah.
Well, it'll all be indoors, so it'll all be themed, and you can see the aircraft. Now, some of them are going to be suspended from the ceiling, too.
And I like that. I think that's really
so
cool
it looks
when you
like
see
they're
that.
Flying,
Yeah.
But you'll also see, let's say, the SR-71 Blackbird, all of the cameras that it carried and things like that when it flew those, super secret missions, plus the flight suits, plus all of that, were survival gear that
really
the
cool.
airmen had to have. So, and it'll also show, women pilots in the Air Force and their contribution. And I mean, Eileen Collins, I'm sorry, she was a shuttle commander, and she flew test aircraft at Edwards.
What's one of the things that you're most excited about when that's at Edwards?
I think it's being able to showcase a lot of things that the public really hasn't had access to, things that affect lives today that, we let's say in 1947, we couldn't go faster than the speed of sound until General Yeager, at the time Captain Yeager, took it past that. And a lot of people died trying because it would just buff it so bad. And then once you push through it, then the air smoothed out because it's flying faster than sound. The air is flowing the way it should be. The air is out of your way, So the shuttle is another one, to watch the shuttle be lifted on this apparatus and put on the back of a 747 to transport somewhere is really neat. Airplanes that, can land on a postage stamp basically developed out there. What's called vertical VSTOL or VTOL, vertical takeoff and land, just like the Harrier, and a lot of other NASA airplanes that they have out there. So the NASA contingent will go in there as well.
And you think that that's kind of more impressive than other places have, that there's more NASA, there's more of a NASA presence?
NASA.
Because we don't get that at every other...
Right. And then the Air Force itself, now Navy planes were tested out there too, and Army helicopters were tested out there, so they'll be part of the museum as well. And what's really, I find really interesting is you can be out, when we were going out on the lake bed to look at things, you'll find out where, what's this track here for? Well, it was an ejection track, where they'd shoot you down the track and you'd eject out, but it's vast. I mean, the whole property.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you get a place? I know the museum is supposed to be that, but do you get to ride around and see what's happening?
No, unfortunately not. But the actual land of Edwards Air Force Base, as I was told, has more acreage than the city of Los Angeles. It's that big.
I can see that. I know people, it's hard to conceptualize that, but it is when you think about where it's at.
Right.
It really can be. Wow, that's really cool.
The first prototype of the swept wing jet bomber is out there. It was rescued from Illinois, and it was tested there. Basically it was the forerunner of a lot of the airliners with the swept wing technology that we see today, that we fly on.
So where do we go now to get a lot of the information about what's happening there?
You can go onto their website. It's flighttestmuseum.org.
What about Instagram?
I believe they have an Instagram page. They have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And of course, the organization is the Flight Test Historic Foundation.
Flight Test Historic Foundation.
Yeah,
And that's, and I understand that's separate than that.
That's the nonprofit part of it. So you make your donations to, the hangar or whatever.
And we just like to kind of see even what's going on and get a little bit of the history and all of that before. That's what I was kind of wondering.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'd love to see the progress and all this because this is really cool.
And I think it would be good to go down and do a field trip and film what's already built.
Let's go, Joe.
And show, I'm ready. You just let me know. We can do it on Friday.
I want to see all the cool stuff that's there. We're gonna need that little.
I'll talk to the chairman and I'll talk to the executive director. If you can get that horse and
buggy out there to go from like one side to the other and be like, this is where this happened.
Yeah, it could be a dusty ride, but it's.
But no, I want to get. I would love to see that. That's really exciting.
It is, and. A lot of these things are basically one-off or one-of-a-kind. So for them to be preserved and to have those stories of the people that flew them, coupled with that, and some of these people are still with us that can stand there and say, hey, I did this in this aircraft. The prototype F-22 Raptor is in that museum, which is still, flies today, which is the ultimate air superiority, air dominance fighter that the Air Force has.
So what was your favorite plane or artifact? I know you have one.
That's a tough one.
I know that's a tough one. Okay, you can mention three.
Mention three?
You can mention three if you want to.
Let's see.
Okay, it was hard to pick one, but what was like one of the things you're like, I'm always excited to see this?
I've always loved the B-52. That's one I've always loved to see, which they have. It was a mothership, and it's out there. It's on display at one of the gates. The SR-71 is always a favorite, because it's just so technologically, even to this day, you look at it and you say, God, that's 2026 technology, but it's not. It's 1960 technology.
That always fascinates me, too. I love that. I love when you see things that are ahead of its time.
And I would say probably out at Edwards, I think probably some of the, the F-4 Phantoms, that flew out there. But I have to say the first jet America built was by Bell, who builds helicopters now, and it was called the P-59 Air Comet. And it was a straight wing, kind of bird cage canopy looking thing because this is like 1943, so we had to do something because the Axis powers were developing jet aircraft. So we had to do something to try and counter that. But some things you see out there, you're like, good Lord, that thing would never fly. Looks like a mix master or something, so. But
this is where we get the UFOs from. There might be one in there. You don't know, with all that space, there might be one we don't know about yet.
No comment.
So since we're in the middle of nowhere going out there, is there a place to like eat and drink? And what's it like when you step foot in the area?
When you set foot out there, I would recommend getting something to eat right now when you go out there, probably like in Rosamond. Which is
we're going out there just to go out there. Okay, so don't have any needs.
Take some water with you. We're doing some filming, but downrange, I would suspect that we would have a cafe or something in there. Because you're gonna have restrooms, you're gonna have these other things. So cafe would be very, very appropriate to have in there, especially when you have groups of people come through and, your nearest eats is maybe, because you can't go on the base, so your nearest eats are probably 10 miles away. So, you can go for miles and miles and miles and think, God, where am I? We're going to get there or what? But it's that vast. Rocket motors tested there, rocket motors for the Apollo missions to the moon, rocket motors for the space shuttle. All those things.
That's so cool. It's really cool to know that a lot of these things just happen in our backyard, pretty much.
They do.
Because I forget, and I forget that myself a lot, because a lot of the things were happening, in Florida and like other places. And so it's like, it is cool to know. No, we had a lot of cool things that were just tested right here.
Oh, exactly. And Edwards Air Force Base, flight test, that's where most of it happened before it went to the launch pad or before it went to into production on the runway, whether it would work or not.
And I think that's really exciting. A lot of things actually happen there. I love that. I think that's going to be really fun to be like, like you said, you just saw like the little fights like that was a track of it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and General Yeager was he loved to hunt, and he was from West Virginia, and he he rode a horse the day before he broke the sound barrier. He was riding a horse and he broke a rib, and he didn't tell anybody. He kind of taped it up so that way. Otherwise, he couldn't fly. So he was going to fly. So a friend of his in the mother airplane gave him a stick to lock the door down on the X-1. And he broke the sound barrier with a broken rib.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah, it is. And, if people want to donate to that, I mean, they can surely, if they want, they can call me. I can direct them in the right place. I can give them my number, my email, but basically go on the website and look at, there's places on there it'll say donate.
So where can we get a hold of you to do that if we want to do that or have more questions? I think some people watching this probably want to, and they just maybe have more questions about it.
Yeah, actually, I can, if people out there, if you got a pen and pencil or a pen and paper, I can give you my email. It's J and then M as in Mike, and then my last name, Pruzzo. It's Pruzzo.
And what about Facebook?
At gmail.com and Facebook, too. You can get a hold of me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook.
Are you on Instagram?
Yeah. I am. Yes, I am on Instagram. Yeah.
No, we can get a hold of you everywhere, Jim. But you have a good last name. There's not a lot of you.
No, it's a good Italian name.
Yeah, Joe Pruzzo. So Joe Pruzzo on Instagram and Facebook, because that would be really cool too. I know that you have such a wealth of knowledge, and we just every time I talk to you, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. We don't even get to dive deep because we just don't have that long of a show. But that's why it's like if people,
you never know, we might be able to one of these days.
We do the Sparkle and Joe show that we can have all time in the world.
Oh yeah, hey, we can do it out there. Walking around the building.
I really would love to come out and do that though. That's a great idea. So we had plan on Friday and do that.
I'll mention it to the board.
And then anybody watching now can actually write in and say what you would like to know most about, because then we get more time on that. That would be really great because people don't understand how much there is there, how much knowledge you have that we. If people really want to know about something, you guys need to write it in so we know what to spend more time on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd love to come back and. We can do this again. We can do this several times, but...
when is the goal to finish this project start it to where they want to get it done?
It really started just before COVID hit. When COVID hit, they pulled the trigger and basically laid the concrete down and got, the beams, the frame of the building up, the frame of the hangar. Problem is, once COVID hit, everything pretty much stopped, and we know what that was. And during that time, everything elevated in price. Steel, building materials, everything just went up prolifically. And so that's the problem. You have so much raise and in a budget, well, all of a sudden, that kind of gets wiped out because what should have costed X dollars now cost W dollars. So that was an issue, and that's being addressed as we go. And more awareness of this is coming out, because basically the only people that knew about it kind of were in the Lancaster, Palmdale, Rosamond area, and it was just the folks out at Edwards, the test pilots, the test phase people, and all of that. And we've been able to, with the help of the board and trying to impress on them, we need to get it out into, the Bakersfield area, because people in Bakersfield had no clue. So we're starting.
We'd love to build that community. I actually do have a lot of friends out there in Lancaster. I don't know if that's something really put out there, but if you know how that community is, they really need something like this going for them.
Well, and that's true. You're kind of out there on the high desert.
Yeah. So everyone living in Palmdale and Lancaster, they really need this. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and getting into the Bakersfield market, getting some exposure there. A lot of oil businesses in the Bakersfield area, a lot of potential funding, and also here in Fresno. It's not that far from Fresno.
No, this is really our backyard.
To be able to contribute to something like that. And people who are affluent, in firms, companies who are affluent, it's tax deductible. You could actually name maybe a certain section in your name or something like that.
That would be great.
That'd be kind of like your legacy.
I love that. Well, you guys, write in, keep up with that. We're going to keep up with Joe. So hopefully next time we're doing this in the camera, it's going to be over there. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. And I sent you some pictures and all that. Please feel free to post those.
Oh, they're going to be posted.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Joe.
It's always a pleasure, Sparkle. Always a pleasure. And thank you so much for your support.
Fell right in the moment, fell right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.